When people speak about prime Mike Tyson, the conversation almost always centers around raw, terrifying power. They talk about the devastating knockouts, the intimidation factor, and the sheer speed at which he dismantled opponents. But raw power alone doesn't make you the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. What made Iron Mike unstoppable was his elite defense, specifically, his absolute mastery of the counterpunch. Trained by the legendary Cus D'Amato, Tyson perfected the iconic peekaboo style. Keeping his gloves high against his cheeks, constantly moving his head from side to side, Mike didn't just avoid punches. He baited his opponents into throwing, waited for them to overextend, and capitalized on their slightest mechanical mistakes with surgical precision. Today, we are taking a deep technical dive into boxing history. We will analyze the footwork, the angles, and the split-second timing of the top 5 times Mike Tyson mastered the art of the counterpunch finish. Coming into this fight, Marvis Frazier, son of the legendary former heavyweight champion Joe Frazier, was expected to be a serious test for the young Tyson. Frazier was agile, possessed a solid jab, and aimed to keep Tyson on the outside using lateral movement. The fight lasted just 30 seconds, but those 30 seconds contained a masterclass in counter-swarming. As the opening bell rang, Frazier attempted to establish his presence early by throwing a light, probing jab. In traditional boxing, a jab keeps a power puncher at bay. But against Tyson's peekaboo system, a lazy jab is an open door. Tyson immediately dipped his head beneath the trajectory of Frazier's jab, shifting his weight to his back foot while advancing forward. This subtle movement forced Frazier into a corner against the turnbuckle. Desperate to create space, Frazier loaded up a straight right hand to push Mike off. That was the fatal mistake. Before Frazier's right hand could reach full extension, Tyson slipped inside the arc of the punch. Moving with terrifying velocity, Mike unloaded a 3-punch countersequence. A crushing right hook to the ribs, followed instantly by a devastating right uppercut straight through the middle of Frazier's guard. The uppercut hit Frazier with such kinetic force that it lifted him off his feet, rendering him unconscious before his body even hit the canvas. It remains one of the purest examples of taking an opponent's jab and converting it into an immediate, fight-ending counter-assault. If you ever need to demonstrate to a casual fan how defense seamlessly turns into brutal offense, show them round 2 of Mike Tyson vs. Reggie Gross. This sequence is widely considered by combat sports analysts to be one of the greatest defensive highlights in boxing history. Gross came out aggressive in the second round, attempting to overwhelm Tyson with raw volume. He trapped Mike near the ropes and launched a wild, desperate 5-punch flurry, throwing left hooks, right straights, and sweeping combinations. Watch Tyson's head movement frame by frame. Duck low, slip left, slip right, duck underneath, and roll to the left. 5 thunderous punches were thrown with full power, and every single one missed Tyson by fractions of an inch. Tyson didn't take a single step backward. He absorbed the space using bob-and-weave footwork. By the end of his 5-punch combination, Gross was completely exhausted, off balance, and his lead shoulder was wide open. The moment Gross finished his last punch and attempted to reset his guard, Tyson froze his movement, planted his back foot firmly on the canvas to anchor his power, and launched a cold-blooded left hook directly to the point of Gross's jaw. Gross collapsed instantaneously like a folding chair. It was pure poetry in motion, a brilliant example of letting your opponent wear themselves out, breaking their posture, and delivering the fatal counterblow. Pinklon Thomas was a formidable WBC heavyweight champion who possessed one of the stiffest, most technical jabs in the division during the 1980s. Prior to facing Tyson, Thomas had never been knocked out or stopped in his professional career due to his world-class guard and durable chin. For the first 5 rounds, Thomas tried to use his long reach to keep Tyson at range, firing crisp jabs every time Mike tried to step inside. But by the 6th round, Tyson had completely mapped out Thomas's timing. Thomas stepped forward and threw a hard, straight jab, intending to follow it up with a right cross. Tyson anticipated the rhythm. He slipped outside the left jab, dropping his center of gravity and placing his body inside Thomas's striking zone. Once inside, Thomas tried to shell up and cover his chin. But Tyson's counterpunching wasn't just a single shot, it was a relentless barrage. Tyson unleashed a terrifying 15-punch combination in less than 5 seconds. Every single strike in that combination was a counter-reaction to Thomas trying to shift his guard. Tyson targeted the liver, came over the top with right hooks, and finished with a devastating left hook that lifted Thomas's head back. Thomas crashed to the mat for the first time in his life. Tyson proved that even the best jab in the world can be completely dismantled if you counter inside the guard. At just 20 years old, Mike Tyson stepped into the ring against WBC champion Trevor Berbick to make boxing history. Berbick was known for his physical toughness, rough style, and aggressive presence inside the ring, intending to intimidate the young contender. In round 2, Berbick attempted to push Tyson back by throwing a wild jab-cross combination. He threw his weight heavily into the straight right hand, hoping to catch Mike coming forward. Tyson executed a flawless peekaboo maneuver. He ducked deep underneath Berbick's overextended right arm, lowering his hips into a squat position. As Berbick's punch cleared Tyson's head, Berbick's entire left side was left undefended. Tyson loaded his entire body weight into his legs like a compressed spring and exploded upward with a crushing left hook to the temple. The counter hit Berbick's equilibrium directly. The impact was so severe that when Berbick tried to stand up, his nervous system completely failed him. He stumbled across the ring, fell into the ropes, tried to stand again, and fell a second time before the referee called a stop to the bout. That single, perfectly timed counterpunch officially made Mike Tyson the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. The number 1 spot could only belong to one fight: the legendary 91-second destruction of the undefeated lineal heavyweight champion Michael Spinks. Spinks was a master technician who had beaten Larry Holmes twice and was considered by many experts to be the true heavyweight champion. However, Spinks came into the ring visibly intimidated by Tyson's presence. Just over a minute into the opening round, Spinks attempted to throw a sharp straight right hand to back Tyson off and establish respect. It was the shot Spinks had trained for months to land. Tyson read the motion instantly. As Spinks extended his right hand, Tyson slipped his head to the left, letting the punch brush past his ear. In one fluid motion, Tyson countered with a short, brutal hook to Spinks' body, forcing Spinks to wince and lower his elbow. Seeing Spinks' guard drop for a split second, Tyson didn't hesitate. He brought a lightning-fast right uppercut hook hybrid punch right over the top. It landed flush on the point of Spinks' chin. Spinks collapsed back first onto the canvas, completely unable to recover before the count of 10. It was 91 seconds of absolute tactical perfection, a timeless demonstration of how slip mechanics, distance control, and devastating counterpunching power created the peak version of Iron Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was far more than a brawler. He was a defensive genius who converted his opponent's momentum into absolute destruction. Which of these legendary counterpunches was your absolute favorite? Is there another fight you think belonged on this list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more technical breakdowns of combat sports history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.